Time for confessions. When you get invited to a conference like this, you secretly hope that the speaker before you will be really crap. This is the third conference that I've spoken after Anka, so no luck there. Could we just please change places next year? Okay, so to tell you a little bit about my customer experience journey, I was given a project about 6 years ago. I was working for a large financial services company, and I had to kick off this project to become more client-centric. And one of the first things I did was send the execs on a customer experience immersion session. And they had to come back and tell me how interacting with our organization made them feel. Now, just to paint a picture, this was a room full of actuaries and accountants. They don't talk about it. I thought my career would end quite prematurely. But I want to kick off with just a little video clip that talks about what customer experience is and what the various elements of that is. Smells like. We've heard a lot of calls with call center agents where the customer says, I smell something fishy. So that's our research. Most big corporates smell like ammonia, because ammonia is the main ingredient in cleaning liquids. Do you think ammonia is a particularly positive smell? It's clean, but it doesn't smell very nice. So that's an interesting thing, to start thinking about your experiences in your surroundings in terms of what are those senses that get involved. I want to zoom in just for a moment in terms of the emotions, and I drew this diagram that talks about kind of experiences on that spectrum of being unpleasant to pleasant. Versus dysfunctional to functional. And you can see the various things that I've plotted there. So if we look at the major drivers of loyalty, and irrespective of industry, they found that these are the main ones. It's very much around highly personalized. Is that experience highly personalized? Did the customer have to spend low effort in terms of that engagement? Was it convenient? And was it fast? So if you think about those 4 aspects and you zoom in on those 4 aspects, that's literally the aspects that are going to give you that moment of magic and that love. If the experience starts to get dysfunctional, you get dislike and then the really bad one is when they hate you. And obviously it's like a marriage. That can't just always be good. So if we look at those highs and lows, we want to go away and we want to bank enough love so people keep on coming. Moving on to how to approach customer experience, and I was asked so many times in my career, what is all this about? And I drew up this diagram, and I want to invite you. You can download the presentation from the Brandlove website. Take my name off, use it as if it's your own. Use this diagram if you need to. But just talking about the elements. So you've got the customer value proposition, and that's really, what do you sell? Is it a service? Is it a product? Is it an experience? What is that journey? What are the interaction channels that you offer? And then you've got the organization structure. And below here, I've plotted the various competencies required in terms of delivering to that ecosystem. And I think very often people look for that magic bullet, and there isn't a magic bullet. You need to get this ecosystem to work in harmony. And you need to understand where to pull the levers to make this ecosystem really work. Moving on, I want to quickly talk about curiosity. And I love the story that Richard Branson tells about looking at things as if you're seeing it for the first time. He talks about flying on his own airlines and jotting down notes while he looks at the passengers on the flight. And they noticed that the little salt and pepper pots were disappearing. Now, any good organization would immediately probably grab at governance and say, you know what, we need to frisk passengers as they leave the plane. But instead, they started branding the salt and pepper pots. And they let people steal it. Because all of a sudden, they got real estate on a dinner table where people would ask, where did you get those nice salt and pepper pots? And people would turn it around and it would go, next from Virgin Atlantic. How much more intimate can we get than having that at the dinner table? Better than advertising on television. So we need to just get more curious and look at the detail. I want to spend a moment talking about innovation. And the first thing I want to touch on is product and innovation. Now this is an MRI scanner. Who's been in an MRI scanner? Okay. It's an unpleasant experience. It is freaking scary. The noise that thing makes, it feels like you're going to die. So there's this guy called Doug Deeds, and you can go and Google him. He's an engineer that built these things, and he's very, very proud of his work. And he was standing at a medical center one day inspecting one of these devices. And he saw them bringing in a child. And the child was so petrified of this thing that they had to get an anesthetist to come and administer a tranquilizer to put the kid down so they could put the child in this device. And that was just distraught. It was distraughting to him. And he started thinking about a device that really should save lives. It's such a scary thing for a kid to experience. And what they did is he went to Stanford T School, and they went into this process of innovation, and they changed this product to now look much more like that. So they've created this whole experience and this whole story that starts before the child goes to the medical center. And it's now a pirate experience, and the child is told to keep very, very still as he goes into the tunnel, because otherwise the pirates are going to find him. And they've noticed that the intervention of administering tranquilizers reduced by 80%, because all of a sudden the kids were part of the story and part of this play. So that's a really good example of product innovation. I want to talk about